Good afternoon, everybody. I am Karla, and today I would like to share with you how we are using data science to actually help our customer, the Jumbo customers, to have a good experience, a good omnichannel experience. That's about it. So before we dive into that, I know we have a very international audience, so I'm just very quickly remind you what Jumbo is about. It's really just in a nutshell. For the ones of you that don't know, Jumbo is the second biggest supermarket in the Netherlands. It has grown a lot in the past 25 years, and it actually has more than 700 shops with lots of customers, not only in the Netherlands, but also in Belgium. And these 25 years, actually, the growth has been always driven by what we call the 7 certainties, or zekerheden in Dutch. And that means that, in a nutshell, what actually Jumbo strives for is good service, good products at an affordable price. And you shouldn't compromise in that. You should always deliver as an organization on these 3 things. But yeah, 26 years, we've grown a lot. What started as one shop in Den Bosch, in the Passage, yes, actually has grown to more than 700 shops with different concepts. We are not just a supermarket anymore. We also have food markets where I actually strive for more food experience, where you can have pizza made for you or other sushi while you are shopping around. We've gone online in a more omnichannel experience where you can choose from pickup points in the shops to actually home delivery. And we've last year also acquired in the previous years Laplace, where we also have a more joint cooperation with them. So this raised some challenge for the organization, because it's not enough anymore to say we make sure that our employees in the shop, they actually strive for the 7 certainties and they help the customer on the spot. Well, home delivery on the spot, yeah, our drivers are as friendly as they could when they are bringing your groceries, but there is a limit to what they can do. So that raises a challenge to the whole organization in, when we move omnichannel, how can we keep delivering in the standards we target at, the standards that are driven by our 7 certainties? That's what I want to share with you now. Actually, in cooperation with the Jumbo Service Center, give more details about that now, but with the business analyst there, we've developed a data science solution where, based on the context that the Jumbo Service Center gets from the customers and the stores, we can provide a summary that helps the data analyst to go what's going on and how to improve the points. So let's look into more details. The Jumbo Service Center actually has 2 customers, if we look at it. It has us that go shopping, might go shopping at Jumbo, the end customers, but it also serves the stores. So if an employee is missing, has a question about some promotion that's going on, it's not scanning very well in the checkout area, or they miss some folders that they were expecting a certain date, or there is some problem in the pickup point, they also call the service center. And together, these contacts from the end customer and from the stores actually generate about 25,000 touch points per week. So imagine you are there, you are the Jumbo Service Center data analyst, and you want to summarize what's going on. What has happened this week? 20,000 contacts. It's humanly impossible. If you do 200, if you take 10 seconds, it would take half an hour for you. So no, how can I do that in a timely way that I can provide the stakeholders in a good way? And that's where our voice of the customer mining solution comes into place. Basically what we've done is weekly, we automatically mine these touch points, and then we provide a summary for them. It's in Excel, because that's the format that, after touching base with all the stakeholders in the value chain, was the format that's low entrance for everybody. And then we focus on 3 different results. One is first what's the analysis scope, because we have different channels. We typically do everything, but sometimes let me just give them just the summary for the calls, or give just the summary for the Facebook interactions. And then in the main page we have, let me see if I find the pointer here. here we have the summary. And this summary are excerpts, like substrings of actual feedbacks from customers that summarize the most frequent thing that has going on. I'm going to deep dive into how we do that, which package we use to do that. The second part is actually, the core, let's say, the minor topics. And the idea here is that the data analyst shouldn't read all the things. Actually, we list the topics from the most relevant to the least relevant. That's based on the amount of documents they summarize, and we show the cumulative percentage of documents. Documents for us is a feedback or a contact that it summarized. So in practice, the analyst just has to look at the 30–50% of the topics that summarize 30 to 50%, because this is part of a continuous improvement flow. And the aim is get the main voice, address them. If you address them correctly, your improvement actions result in the things you want to do. In the next round, this voice will decrease and other voice might pop up. So we are interested in the high volume things. And all that, the added value, what's in it for the data analyst? Well, actually it takes her just 10 minutes per Excel output to distill what's really going on. And if there is something new that pops out, then she contacts the business partner in the value chain. And next week we do the analysis again. So it doesn't matter if you have 500 or 1 million interactions, it only takes you 10 minutes to see the most frequent things that has happened last week. So let me give you some examples, because typically when we look into these things, and it's true, most of the contacts we get, it's about things that went wrong. In general, it's human being expects things to work out. And it happens, but it's not very often that people call us to give a compliment about something that has happened. So most of the things are about things that went wrong, but there are also nice things in it, in the sense that suggestions, ideas, customers tell us things that we should do to improve the service. And the great thing is now we can also notice that. It also pops out. So here I have 3 examples. There were more things, but I just want to highlight 3 examples that touch upon these 3 aspects. The first one is actually a customer suggestion. So I think in about 2 to 3 years ago, we've started with our loyalty program, the Jumbo Extras. And after some rounds of mining the feedbacks of the customers, one thing that really popped up in the beginning was, since we are going digital anyway, why don't you have a functionality to have a digital receipt? And when we look at that, we said, obvious, we should do that, right? But it was in the planning to do that, but because the customer was asking so much, we put it in the front. So this also helps in prioritize which functionalities you should do that will lead to a better customer experience. And we're really grateful that so many customers were thinking like that and asking for that. Another thing is sometimes it helps to improve actions that are helping the organization, but just need to be a little bit better. So we had a track and trace system, and we had that for the app as a home delivery, and you had that at the stores for the pickup points. But it turned out that in many situations, like in 5% of the situations, it wasn't timely updated. So the information you had there wasn't always the latest information when your groceries will come in case there would be some delays. And that's something that we've noticed by applying Voice of the Customer Mine, and then they've improved that. And last but not least, we now have a knives campaign, a market campaign about knives, but last year we had, for instance, the Max Verstappen. And 2 things that we need to improve for the coming campaigns are, one was the QR code that the customers would get sometimes wouldn't scan correctly, so when they would go to collect their card. And the other thing is the shops, they get a list of who's coming to collect in paid for the cars, and this list was sometimes incomplete. So these are things that actually have been improved based on the insights we got. Oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot to tell you, it's an interactive presentation, so if you have questions in the meantime, please feel free to ask them. Otherwise, can do on the phone. So, okay, but how does it work actually? And my aim here, showing you what's under the hood, is really like, imagine you have already some voice of the customer solution in your organization, or you see opportunities to apply voice of the customer solution in your organization. I want to give you an idea, a concrete idea how we did that, and also some tips and tricks that if I'll do it again, it would have helped. The whole solution, by the way, took about 12 weeks to develop together with the business analyst, and it wasn't really full-time. So we're doing these next to other projects. So starting with the end, our solution is basically based on 3 core packages: Spacey, GNC for the topic modeling with a latent Dirichlet allocation, and Rake for wrapped automatic keyword extraction. And it's embedded in a platform. Basically, we use Azure Databricks. So the Jumbo Service Center uses Salesforce. We collaborate with our data engineers that actually build a solution that gets the data daily from Salesforce to Azure. Then we can run our voice of the customer mining solution in Databricks, and we use Python and PySpark. Actually, I think 99% of the development we do in Vinjumbo for data science is based on these 2 languages. And from there, then in the solution itself, that I'll deep dive a little bit in the coming slides, we use these 3 packages. Once because we automated that, so we should invoke the different flavors of the ones. Sometimes they want to just per channel, sometimes they want to everything together, and typically they also want to see just things for the store, just things for end customers. So we have these 3 flows automated, and we've implemented them as workflows or pipelines in the Azure Data Factory, such that the business users are provided every Friday with the insights of the previous week. So imagine you are going to work with these libraries, and what are the things you should, it would be handy to know. Space is very powerful. I must say, here I'm focusing on the data tokenization, but of course, you have to, like if you get an email, you don't want the header details of the email to do the mining, you want the actual message. So I've used PySpark regular expressions to actually extract the core of the message within a contact. And this is already the part, once it's left, you've done all the pruning you wanted, what you can do with Spacey for the tokenization. One thing for us that was important is when I report to the final Excel, I don't want customer names there. So one thing I did is I used Spacey to get rid of personal names from the content of the message. The actual tokenization happens in these 2 parts. And one important thing is, if you're going to use Spacey, check the API of the token class, because this is really powerful and will make your life so easy. You won't have to do many things. It's just ready there. And the good thing is when you upgrade to the new release, you get everything for free. Of course, I used the model for the Dutch language. I used the medium one, not the bigger one or the small one. And one thing that it was interesting to see was for noun chunks. These are like looking, for instance, if people are talking a lot about Unox sausage, Unox wurst. And sometimes some feedbacks might be about some specific things. And of course, you can use bigrams and trigrams to do that, but my experience is that the Spacey noun chunks are enough to get the most frequent combinations of words that actually are important for summarizing the results. Okay, I'm assuming no questions about space, so I'll move on for, yeah? No, I didn't run into problem because Spacey luckily has trained models for the Dutch language. And if you go there, there are 3 flavors, small, medium, and large. I use the medium one because quality-wise is comparable to the large one. And they basically train it on newspapers or media from the Dutch language. Does it cover everything? No, probably the English module would be much better, but it covers enough for us to have a robust solution, because it's based on spacey, and get good insights for what we are targeting at. Okay, so for the topic modeling part, I love the talk. Okay, I'm very nerdy, so I love the talk of David Blay about latent Dirichlet allocation. If you Google David Blay, he's the inventor of the LDA, and if you Google Andy Brugh, I think it's a bit old talk, but it's wonderful. It gives you all the insights. For the ones that are not known with the technique in a nutshell, it's a clustering technique where the clusters or the topics are like probabilities over a distribution of words. These are like all the words of all the contexts we've had in the Search Center. And it assumes that one document is actually a distribution of topics. So it might have different things, but it strives for minimizing the amount of topics a document will be assigned to, and within a topic, it tries to find out what are the core words that are really summarizing the things that are going on here? And it evolves. But it's a clustering technique. And as any clustering technique, you guys probably know, you have to set up front how many clusters you want at the end. We don't have the answer, because sometimes we mine 500 contacts, where maybe 4 clusters are enough. And sometimes we did once for a whole year, then you have 1 million contacts, and I don't think you'll be able to summarize that in 4 clusters. You'll get something, but that's not the ideal number. So one thing I did to play let's call it like the elbow curve, to see when to stop because the model is not improving anymore, is to just use here a for loop, where we say we start with a minimum number of clusters and we move forward with a step size until our coherence model. Coherence model is how good the topics are summarizing the documents, the distribution, how they are allotted to the topics, stops increasing. So that was a way to play with the dynamic amount of, different amount of clusters that you can have. And that's basically what we do. So stop iterating when you see that your model coherence is decreasing. One thing that's handy to know here, the coherence model is pretty much dependent on the top N words. So because we strive for the main voice here, we use at most 10 words. The vocabulary will contain all the words you have in all the contexts. And the other thing is, the algorithm LDA, in principle, it will always assign a topic to a document. So if it's not sure, let's imagine you have 3 topics, and the probability for this document to be in topic 1 is 33%, topic 2 is 33%, and topic 3 is also 33%, and to say, topic 2, I don't want that. I only want a document to be assigned to a topic when the algorithm is very sure that it should be in that topic. And that's the most dominant topic for that document. And that's why it's important to look at the minimum probability. So basically here we say, if you are in doubt, forget it, don't assign it, because it does not add value. We are looking for the main voice here, so we should be sure about the things we are grouping at. Yeah? Yeah, in this case, I just said if I've noticed that when it was really in doubt, it would just have a probability that's very close to dividing 100 by the number of topics you are running now. And then I say, okay, it should be at least bigger than that, plus a little bit 0.1. That was my decision to do that. But if you can also say, only assign if it's 60% at least of probability. You can also give a real value for it. Yeah? We do that for other analysis, but in this context, it wasn't really relevant. They really want to improve things that affect the whole value chain within Jumbo. But yeah, for other analysis, we use that. Okay, and then finally the summary, how to summarize the topics. I was looking for solutions for that. I must say most of the things we do in Jumbo, we apply and refine existing things. So sometimes we develop new modules, but it's mainly applying existing packages and libraries that are out there based on our reality. And then I ran into this rake package. And it's actually a very simple way. What it does is it was originally made for like articles, research articles, and it tries to automatically identify keywords. The inventors, they work in a library, a digital library, and they were trying to find the keywords for the articles such that they could automatically categorize them. So what I did is, because these are typically huge documents, we don't have huge documents. We have like 3 to 5 lines things, or maybe 10 lines. So the first thing I did was I combined all the documents. So typically I say I just want to analyze the top 80% comments that are more frequent here. And then I combine that in all the documents, and afterwards I call the rake. And then there is a catch here. Well, in our case, to make it actionable for our stakeholders, also in the summary, it's important that the excerpt, the substring we report in the summary, is exactly like people wrote it. So if you use language as Dutch, it will cut things. It will get the stop words out of it, what makes sense for other settings. But in our set, it didn't make sense. So what I did, I misused it by saying, you know, your input is in Dutch, but assume it's in English, because then you'll give me exactly the keywords as they are in the text, and that works wonders. So that's something that you might consider too. So basically, there are more things happening within Jumbo. These are some of the projects our team is working on, and yeah, I'm talking today about voice of the customer mining, but actually we do several other things with data science. So that was a bit for the journey in Jumbo, or showing one of the solutions in Jumbo. But I thought, well, I'm here, I'm meeting great people that are also interested in data-driven insights, so why not share a little bit of my personal journey too? So yeah, as Rose indicated, I'm Brazilian. Actually, I was born and did my university studies at this city in Campina Grande. And at the end of 2002, about 20 years ago, I was 26. Yes, I am almost 46 now. And then I came to Eindhoven to pursue my PhD studies. And then I thought, if I would start over again, because that's when I have a background in computer science, but during process mining, we're actually developing software that gives insights on what's going on in organization in their business processes. And then I thought, what are the things that I would tell myself, the young myself, if I would start again? And it's not an exhaustive list, but reading is one of my hobbies. I actually learn a lot from reading. I enjoy reading, and I thought, I'll just tell things that I'll tell myself. So professionally speaking, there are 2 books that I would certainly advise. One of them is Storytelling with Data. Why? That one taught me that no matter how brilliant your results are, if they are not actionable, if they are not insightful for your audience, even if they don't know how to read the frequency table, you have to present that in a way they understand. Because we are delivering results to bring improvement in the organization. So your results are as valuable as they are understood by the target audience. And this book shows a nice way to do that. The other thing was, I'm not an econometrician, so I have a background on how to write software. So for me, if you're an econometrician, just ignore that. But if you're not, and if you want to get a good understanding of common things we use in data science, I find this book a very good starting point for that. Then for more personal life, now I have to give a bit of context. I was raised in a Brazilian culture. I was raised during the dictatorship in the Brazilian culture, and it was okay, but it was pretty much achievement-driven. Doesn't matter the process. Go for the goal. The best, a bit like American culture sometimes. And then I was raised in that, and that was a success formula, it worked, but then it comes a moment in your life that you're like, well, I'm going to work probably until, I think there is something in my glasses. A little spider is interested in the talk so much that she decided to drop in my glasses. But then I thought, okay, I'm probably going to work until I'm 70, and so what? And I'm 70, I'm there, hopefully I'm healthy for a 70-year-old, and then I'm going to start enjoying life? No. So I liked this book because it taught me, from a personal and professional life, if possible, make the journey as enjoyable as the destination. And if you are open for that, on the way you might discover other destinations that are also much more happy than your original goal. But even if you are striving for your original goal, just give yourself some time to enjoy also in the meantime. So this is from a Harvard professor, it's actually very good. And the last one, it's from Sherry Sandberg. When I read it, I must say I was already further in my career, but I recognize many of the things she's saying that. And I always think, you know, an author, regardless of you agree with his personal choice or not, there is a good message there. And the message for me was, no matter how limited you think your power is, you can always use it to empower others. And you don't need to be perfect to make a difference. So just go for it and give yourself some slack, the journey, to learn on the way. So you might help others more than you think, or eventually also help yourself. So I would like to thank you all for joining the Weeds journey today, and also for joining my journey with you now today. I hope you liked it. And feel free to reach me. I'll be in the coffee break. Otherwise, you can always drop me an email at my Jumbo address. Thank you.